What if I told you that you've been stuck in survival mode, not truly living, and that right here, right now, watching this video could actually be the turning point of your entire life, because what you're about to hear is something almost nobody ever talks about, but it's exactly what happens when you finally stop surviving and start stepping into the person you were always meant to become. Hey, and welcome to the epic grand finale of the Reprogram series. And if this resonates with you already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready. Because what we're diving into today might just change everything for you. So here's the question that most people never ask themselves. What actually happens when you stop surviving? Who do you become when you finally break free from that constant fight or flight loop that has been running your life? Because here's the truth. Survival mode means living in reaction, stress, anxiety, fear. It's waking up, doing what you have to do to get by, but always feeling like you're drowning in overwhelm. But living mode is something entirely different. It's vision, it's intention, it's knowing exactly who you are, where you're going, and why you wake up every single day. And I'll be honest with you, I've been there. I used to wake up exhausted, even before my day started, scrolling aimlessly, procrastinating, numbing myself, feeling like I was just surviving one day to the next. Until one day, something hit me. I realized this couldn't be it. This couldn't be what life was supposed to feel like. And when I started to reprogram my mind, when I truly shifted out of survival, I became someone I barely recognized, but someone I was damn proud of. And here's where things get interesting. Because scientifically, this isn't just motivation talk. It's rooted in how your brain actually functions. See, your survival circuits are buried deep in your limbic brain, the amygdala, to be exact. It's ancient. It's designed to protect you. But right above it, you've got the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for vision, decision-making, creativity, purpose, the part that quite literally defines whether you survive or truly live. But here's what no one really tells you. If survival mode has been running the show for most of your life, then your very identity, who you believe yourself to be, is wired around just getting by, not around thriving. Think about that for a second. How many decisions have you made? Not because it's what you wanted, but because you were afraid, stressed, overwhelmed, and just trying to make it through. And I want you to hear me clearly. I'm going to share with you a simple yet insanely powerful tool to flip this script permanently. So don't go anywhere. Let me tell you a quick story. Back when I was stuck in that survival loop, I remember staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering why life felt like an endless treadmill. Wake up, rush, work, stress, scroll, sleep, repeat. No joy, no clarity, no sense of purpose. And then it hit me. I wasn't broken. I was simply programmed by stress, by culture, by my environment to survive, not to thrive. To survive, not to thrive. What if I could reprogram this? What if this isn't who I really am, but just a reflection of the patterns I've been running unconsciously? Think about the moments in your life when you've just been getting by, when everything felt like damage control. And ask yourself, is that really the life you were meant to live? I'll give you a real-life example. Meet Lisa. She was a single mom working 2 jobs, completely burnt out, living in constant stress, just trying to make ends meet. Her days were a blur of daycare drop-offs, deadlines, and exhaustion. But once she applied the exact reprogramming we're talking about right now, everything changed. 6 months later, she was running her own creative business from home, spending more time with her kids, and reported that her daily stress levels dropped by 40%, while her productivity skyrocketed by over 60%. And here's how it works. It starts with awareness, learning how to actually notice when you're slipping into survival mode. Then you interrupt that pattern, literally pausing, breathing, and reframing the moment. And finally, you rewire your brain by stacking daily micro-commitments, tiny actions that signal to your nervous system, hey, we're not surviving anymore. we're thriving. And in the next few minutes, we're going to dive into how to not just change your habits, but how to upgrade your entire identity. Because this isn't just about feeling better, it's about becoming someone new. If this is landing for you, hit that like button right now, because we're about to go even deeper. You've started stepping out of survival. Now it's time to design the version of you that only exists when you stop living in reaction and start living with intention. So let's answer the real question. Who do you actually want to become? Not what job do you want, not what goals do you want to hit, but who do you want to be? Because identity drives action, not the other way around. Here's the part most people never understand. If your identity is still wired around surviving, then no matter how many habits you try to change, you'll always end up snapping back to who you believe yourself to be deep down. But when you upgrade your identity, when you decide, I'm not a person who's stuck, I'm not someone who's just getting by, I am someone who thrives, that shift alone starts changing everything. The science backs this up. Your brain is neuroplastic. It can literally change its structure. Neural pathways are like trails in a forest. The more you walk a path, the more it becomes the default route. And the less you walk the old path, the more it fades away. So, step 1, self-declaration. Say it out loud. I am not just surviving. I am thriving. And I know it sounds simple, maybe even silly, but neuroscience confirms that when you repeatedly declare an identity, your brain starts rewiring itself to match that statement. Let's pause here for a second. Take a deep breath and say it again with me. I am thriving. Step 2, micro habits. Tiny, identity-aligned actions that reinforce who you're becoming. For example, and say it again with me. I am thriving. Or write 3 sentences in a journal answering, how does my thriving self show up today? Or simply, take a 5-minute walk at sunrise as a signal to your brain that you are someone who leads their life intentionally. Let me share another story. Meet Ethan. He's a firefighter. Someone always stuck in response mode. Go, go, go. Emergencies. Adrenaline. For years, his nervous system was fried, stuck in constant survival. But when he started applying this daily breathwork visualization, identity anchoring, he not only transformed his stress levels, but became the leader of resilience training at his entire station. But here's something almost nobody talks about. When you stop surviving, a void opens. And that void feels terrifying because, for the first time, your nervous system isn't busy fighting fires. It's asking, who am I? Without the struggle, and if you don't consciously fill that void, guess what? Old fears, old patterns, they'll rush right back in to fill the space. So here's the tool. Write a letter from your future self, a version of you, 5 years from now, who has fully stepped into thriving. Describe in vivid detail. How do you wake up? How do you move? How do you think? How do you love? How do you lead? If you're feeling this, drop A in the comments. Because next, we're unlocking something even more powerful. The art of flow activation, where performance, purpose, and passion collide. Let's recap. We've shifted your identity out of survival, but now we need to activate your most powerful state of being. Flow. Flow is that state of complete focus, where time disappears, distractions fade, and you perform at your absolute best while feeling deeply alive. Researcher Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi described flow as the optimal state of consciousness, where we feel our best and perform our best. But here's what most people miss. Flow isn't reserved for elite athletes, artists, or entrepreneurs. It's available to anyone who knows how to design it. So how do you access it? Flow trigger number 1. Clear goals with immediate feedback. Your brain needs a clear target and instant signals to know if you're moving forward. For example, a writer aiming to write 500 words doesn't just stare at the screen. They break it into mini chunks, 100 words at a time. Check progress, adjust, keep moving. Flow trigger number 2. The challenge is skill balance. If something is too easy, you get bored. Too hard, You get anxious, but right at the edge, where it's challenging but doable, that's where flow lives. I'll give you a story. A charity runner, never an athlete, decided to run a marathon. At mile 18, their body was screaming to stop. But the mind shifted not to survive the run, but to become the kind of person who does hard things. That's when flow kicked in. Here's the science behind it. Flow floods your brain with dopamine, norepinephrine, endorphins, chemicals that light you up, focus you, and make the experience deeply satisfying. Pause with me here. Think back to a moment in your life where you were so immersed in something, you lost track of time. Remember how good that felt? Here's how you design flow daily. Create your flow playbook. Step 1. Define a 90-second ritual to start. Like putting your phone on airplane mode, opening a blank page, deep breath, and then go. Set a small but meaningful goal. Step 3. When you hit a breakthrough, close the laptop, walk away. Tori, she's a mom who learned coding but had zero time. She started waking up at 5 a.m., just 30 minutes a day, applying this flow framework. 3 months later, she landed her first freelance client and increased her income by over 30%. And there's more. Your brain's prefrontal cortex has a reward prediction system, meaning the more you successfully enter flow, the more your brain starts craving the tasks that used to overwhelm you. If this is clicking for you, hit subscribe now, because what comes next is how to make this permanent. Now, let's lock this in permanently. This is where we anchor everything you've learned, so you never slide back into survival mode again. Here's how. Anchoring. This is about pairing a physical trigger with a mental state. For example, wearing a bracelet, a ring, or even writing, "I am thriving" on a sticky note. And every time you see it, you breathe, you reset, you embody living mode. Let's build your daily framework. Morning. You wake up, immediately activate gratitude. 3 things. Then, move your body. 5 minutes is enough. Midday. Quick reset, breath work, or visualization. Reflect. How did my thriving self show up today? And here's where it gets even more powerful. Create a commitment contract. Tell a friend. Announce it publicly. Start an accountability group. When you involve others, your brain treats the commitment as non-negotiable. Let me leave you with a story that still gives me chills. Sarah grew up poor, believing her life would always be small, predictable, and filled with struggle. But through this work, this reprogramming, she started waking up at 5 a.m., journaling, anchoring, entering, and today, she's speaking on stages, coaching others, and living a life she once thought was impossible. She told me, "I don't just survive anymore. I radiate living." Let's recap the science. You've learned how to literally rewire your brain, shifting from the amygdala's stress circuits to the prefrontal cortex's purpose pathways. You've understood how identity shapes action, how flow elevates performance, and how anchoring makes it sustainable. This isn't hype. It's neuroscience. It's behavioral psychology. It's real. And if you want to go deeper, I've created a reprogram toolkit with vision printables, guided exercises, and daily templates. Link is in the description. But here's my question to you. So, who will you become? Who are you when you stop surviving for good? If this resonated, drop your thriving identity in the comments. Share this video with someone who needs it. And subscribe, because your next level starts right here. This is your reset. This is your reprogramming from survival to living. Welcome to who you become. Just a bit. One habit can change everything.